evening. Thanks for joining us. In November, the Criminal Investigation Branch of the Thunder Bay Police received a complaint of a sexual assault involving a 15-year-old and a 53-year-old male. After investigating the complaint using warrants and video evidence, police executed a search warrant at a residence on Wishart Crescent. Officers seized several computers, cell phones, DVDs, and storage devices. The 53-year-old male was taken into custody and is being charged with a number of offenses. He will appear in court by video December 22nd. It was a ceremony that saw new firefighters join the ranks and long-service personnel honored. Today at the Thunder Bay Fire and Emergency Services Training Complex, a ceremony was held to welcome 8 new 4th-class firefighters to their team. As Phil Darlington reports, it was a chance to recognize the hard work and dedication these individuals have put into reaching this point.
After an extensive and exhausting training and an interview process that deemed them to be the best, Derek J. Foligno, Glenn Lorenz, Tyler Renelt, Derek Stajkowski, Michael Carley, Corey Prevost, Greg Pettypiece, and Stefan Morera are now part of the Thunder Bay Fire Rescue.
Basically, it's the culmination of a whole bunch of hard work for all of us. I mean, teamwork was a really big thing for everybody, and it's just great to see all of our hard work finally paying off, and there's not a better group of guys that I would have liked to go through with. So
a lot of our standards are pass-fail, so you pass, you're the same as everybody else. What these guys did was probably showed extreme effort in everything they did. It's a hard 13 weeks. It's a relentless training event, and they made it through. So congratulations to them. Good for us and good for the community.
The graduation ceremony included a number of speeches, all of which carried a similar message of paying back the dues to those that supported them through leading a successful career.
I think, all of these guys are a model of what we can aspire to, and I think if, like the division chief said, 25 or 30 years down the road, we can look at ourselves and be happy with who we are and what we've accomplished, I think I'd say so.
The new inductees brings the total number of fire rescue personnel to 213. The recruits will be split into 2, with half going to Vickers Fire Hall and the other half going to North Central. Phil Darlington, TPT News.
Thunder Bay High School students got a sobering message this past week from the lead singer of the Manitoba rock band Live on Arrival. In 2007, lead singer Rob Nash tore up his record deal in order to tour prisons, reserves, and high schools. Not only to tell his story, but to listen to the story of others. John Thompson has the details.
As a teenager, Rob Nash was pronounced dead on arrival after a vehicle he was in collided with a transport truck. A steel plate supported his shattered skull when he awoke from the coma. His part concert, part motivational speech recounted his emotions after the accident.
I'm staring at my teacher, then I blink and I wake up and I'm laying in a bed. My buddy was standing there, I'm like, what the heck just happened? He's like, Rob? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you got hit by a semi-truck. I'm like, what are you talking about? When? He said, in winter. I said, it is winter. He shakes his head, he opens the curtains, and he shows me it's summer outside. It's like 3 months later. And I didn't remember anything.
Hammersholt High School grade 12 Glee Club singer Tarika Ladua, who had the opportunity to join Nash on stage, was moved by his message.
It doesn't have to be a huge thing, is what he said. Like, it can be something small, and it can still make a huge difference in someone's life.
Nash spoke to students one-on-one for hours after his performances in 3 local high schools this past week. He said he hears the same stories from teenagers across the world.
Obviously dealing with addiction, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, all these things. And this is what I'm finding is there's way too many tragic stories out there. Everybody's, sees all the stories of suicide and stuff. And what we're trying to do is provide stories of hope. People that have ripped up their suicide notes, that have found the strength to make sure these kids know there are options out there. You can find the strength and get through it because somebody out there needs your story.
John Thompson, TBT News.
What do you get if you cross table hockey and the NHL? Well, you get one solid game of epic mini sticks. 220 kids from all over Thunder Bay made teams of 4 with friends and classmates to compete. The rules of hockey apply, as well as an added no-contact rule, which of course was occasionally forgotten.
We're a not-for-profit organization, and this is just one thing we do to help raise funds for our hockey team.
but it's mainly for the kids. It's a good time of year to do this, and it can get pretty crazy out here. I think they enjoy it because it's something different than the regular ice hockey. It's kind of a small space, and they kind of all get to run around and bang into each other, and yeah, it's just a fun thing for the kids to do.
I got the email from the Thunderwolves, and so I asked my son who he wanted on his team, and he listed off a few buddies. We made some calls, and here we are. Yeah, he's playing with some hockey teammates and some classmates, but they're a good group of kids who love playing hockey 24/7. So.
Each game was 12 minutes in length, and each team was guaranteed to play at least 4 games. Those were followed by semifinals and finals. The Thunder Bay District Humane Society is looking for a new executive director. This comes following a 1-year interim leadership by Glenn Wilson that is now wrapped up. About a year ago, the previous executive director, Marianne Kleinendorf, stepped down from the Humane Society. In her place has been interim leader Glenn Wilson. Wilson was working on a part-time basis with the organization while they worked out some funding issues. Now, 1 year later, the Humane Society feels that they have enough funding to support a full-time executive director. And now they're on the hunt for someone who will keep them operating and financially stable.
It's a leadership role, and one of the major jobs will be seeking sustainable fundraising through grants and through other programs that are available so that we can continue to do the work we do.
The Humane Society has posted the job online, and they're hoping to have the position filled by the end of January. It's that time of year when roads are covered in snow and in some cases a ton of slush. For a question of the day, we wanted to ask Thunder Bay residents whether or not they are pleased with the job maintenance crews have been doing over the past couple of weeks.
I think they're doing a fairly good job.
Are they?
Well, how do you stay ahead of all the snow we've been getting to get it cleared and it snows again? So.
On the highways, well, I feel that the highway's been reasonably good this last little while, especially in the last 2 snowstorms.
No, I don't.
Why?
Every time I drive down a highway, I'm always hitting ruts in the street, and they're doing a lot of the side streets, but they're not doing the main thoroughways. And that poses a danger, especially when it comes to stopping or trying to stay in your own lane or trying to find where your own lane is.
I'm not sure about that one because I've been hearing a lot about different accidents, so most of it is pretty good, yes.
I think that they tried their best. I think that the weather temperatures probably played a big role in it, but Monday was really, really slippery, but it seems to have cleared up very well since then.
The highway maintenance crews are doing a better job than the city maintenance crews are in terms of actually trying to clear the snow.
Decking the house with rows of lighting is nothing unusual at this time of year. However, tonight we thought it would be fun, given the time of year, to introduce you to a man who takes his Christmas lighting seriously. And I mean very seriously. Frederick Arnold has that story.
Rush hour in suburban Washington? Not quite. They stop, tune in, and enjoy the show. A spectacular musical choreography with 350,000 lights.
Oh my God, this is too beautiful.
Meet Bill Vaughn, a Kenny Rogers Santa lookalike. He's the man behind this Christmas magic.
I started out with a few lights 22 years ago. I just add a little every year, and this is what you end up with. This is what you end up with.
Every year, this owner of a construction company takes the whole month of November off to install the lights. Jumping reindeers above fish heads, popping up the stream. A true artist at heart.
You conceive of something in your mind, and you're able to do it in lights, and it's very gratifying. So there's 5 of these.
Here is one of his 5 command centers.
To it, so I had to put
breakers, relay panels, and fiber optic lines.
People don't realize how tedious it is. Putting the lights on is the easy part.
More than 12 kilometers of extension cords. That takes 350 hours to connect all together. 1 minute of the program takes 15 hours to create. This show is a 20-minute loop.
Do you think it's an addiction?
Oh, I know it is. Absolutely.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, is he eating grass?
You know, I see the smiles on the people's faces and the kids squealing and stuff like that. It's well worth it.
Now, how much does it cost?
I don't have a clue. If I kept track of it, it probably would ruin my Christmas.
Don't tell anybody, but a red-nosed reindeer whispered that Bill Vaughn had spent around $60,000 for this over the past 22 years. But, as they say, Christmas magic is priceless. Frédéric Arnould, CBC News, Alexandria, Virginia.